As any self-respecting speaker would do, I decided to do some research about getting naked. So I decided to click that, but I was told this could happen at home. Then I thought, all right, I'll call a friend. And we spoke about sizes and sharing videos. Anyway, let me get to work. So ABN Bev released their results about 2 weeks ago. And the issue that they're facing in developed markets is that beer consumption is declining because young people don't want to have hangovers. And besides, you can't have a hangover and be on Instagram the next day. So the issue here is that brands are not competing against each other. The issue is not Miller or Heineken for ABN Bev. The issue is culture. So you always need to be cognizant that you're not competing with Nedbank, ABSA, FNB if you're in banking. Capitec is not the problem. The problem is culture. So today I'm going to talk about marketing in a world of disruption, how to future-proof your bottom line. And I know everybody throws disruption around, but disruption has always been here. Think of transportation, from the horse and carriage to space. The only issue is the speed of disruption. All this innovation happened in the last 12 years. My son, who's turning 13 last year, we decided we're going to buy him a console. And it was a huge crisis in the house. We spent 2 weeks deciding whether Xbox or PlayStation. You know what did it? On the night before Black Friday, he pulled an Instagram poll. And his friends voted 76% for PlayStation. So what did I do? I sat up all night, and he told me to go to which website to go to order this PlayStation. This is a 12-year-old on Instagram. Who has suffered in that? Blockbuster, the post office. Who knew the post office would be doing SASA stuff? Toys R Us. The list is endless. So we need to talk about how we as marketers look at generations. I'm going to focus on Gen Z and Generation Alpha. Talking about Generation Alpha, I'll refer to my 9-year-old. He's not a great sports guy. He's quite the creative guy. So they were soccer at school, and I was like, no, I'm going to be a clever dad and say, son, we're going to go to Mr. Price and get maxed. He looked at me and said, what's that? What about Adidas or something? So luckily, there's Take It Town. I drove there, got me a pair of Adidas. The number you should be aware of today, if anything else, is 46. 46 is the population of young people between the age of 0 to 24. If you ignore these people, you're in serious trouble as a brand. At HDI, we simplify it. As long as you keep having kids, we'll keep existing. So you've got kids, teens, and young adults. When you look at their need states, kids want to be older. I can tell you all about that for the whole day, because I've got an 8, 9, and 13-year-old. Teens want to be free. Those who got teenagers, I will say a bit of prayer later. And then young adults, those are in the room, and I hire quite a lot of them. I remember one came into my office, and she stood up and like, can I run my business from here? I'm like, what? You want to use our internet, our laptop, our space? It's like, yeah, but like, I'll make sure that I do things on time. So they want their dreams fulfilled. So every time you think of communication, that's what you need to think about. However, the world is disrupted. And who knew that in 2019, when we're doing brand plans, we think of Julius and his crew. Ask Vodacom and H&M, they'll tell you about that. So you've got fees must fall, you've got unemployment, and it's quite disrupted. The world is quite disrupted. And you sometimes wonder as a marketer, how are you going to speak to them through this clutter? This is an important slide, so you can take pictures. So when we talk of triggers, they're fed up with the status quo and want to change and want to drive social change. They're tired and root out of the tradition, and they want to be non-convention. So I've mentioned 2 of my sons. Let me mention the 3rd one, because if this is being recorded, he'll ask me why I didn't use him as an example. We're driving from school one day, and he says to me, "Papa, why doesn't Mrs. Ramaphosa..." No, she's asking, no, she's not Mrs. Ramaphosa. Why does she use a different surname? So I almost stopped the car, and I wanted to say, "Son, you're a black man, you're going to pay lobola, and your wife will have to take our name." Luckily, my wife doesn't use our name. So I was like, think of mommy. You can also take your wife's name if you want to. So they're tired of the unconventional. They're hustlers that are carving their own way towards the big break. The internet has changed everything. And if you're not part of the journey, it did not happen at all. So I'll take you through sort of like future-proofing pillars that we've developed at HDI and a couple of examples in terms of what's happening. So the first thing that you always need to always be aware of is brands need to have a greater purpose. I'm not talking about fighting malaria or CSI stuff. I'm talking about the sexy brands. So somebody's in the room. I was talking to her earlier on. This is how they used to sell beer.
The greatest sign of a man's commitment is his name. Where he puts his name, he places his faith. He gives his name to the things that are closest to his heart. And to his achievements. It's his ultimate word of honor. And the mark of his character. A man earns his name. It's the sum of his lifetime's agreements, handshakes, and promises. It's what he leaves behind. And it's what makes him a legend.
And the shocking thing, you could find that even the brand team were all women. This is how we sell beer in 2019.
You say I'm a cougar.
You say I'm a jock?
You call me Slay Queen? I'm much more than that.
You say I'm a nerd. It's also absurd. I'm more than that.
I'm more than that.
I'm more than that.
You call me Stabania?
You call me cheese boy. You say I'm a Dutchman. I'm more than that. I'm more than that.
I'm more than that.
You say I'm an F-boy.
You say we're Becky's? You call me man, but you don't understand. I'm more than that.
I'm more than that.
We're more than that.
I wonder if Charles Glass would have approved, but anyway. Understanding route and channel to market. Yes, it's all about the psychological and the mental. Young people are on their cell phones. Some of you are responding to emails from work while I'm talking. It's very rude. But young people do that as well. So you think they're at universities. I always get a call. Can you take us to schools or universities? I'm like, why do you want to go to schools or universities? We want to talk to young people. It's like, you don't need to go to schools or universities all the time. So I'm glad to have seen, you have to get the bills paid. I remember seeing this they've sort of gone to the journey, now they're speaking to young people based on their need state, which is a great thing. Some work from Fanta.
My name is Nasiza Dambuza. I'm the team.
I'm getting married.
What? Today we are facing our fears.
So I don't think he's in charge of than millions of budget. But you get the point. It's about peer-to-peer influence. Tribes are becoming more and more important to young people. Be authentic and consistent. So the story of this ad, most of you know it, most of you not, came Phil Knight, who started Nike, was talking to LeBron James, and LeBron James was talking about his kids starting to drive, and his one concern was the fact that they might just get killed by the police. And Phil Knight was like, but that's not my reality. And when the ad agency brought this ad, they immediately approved it because it just made sense.
If people say your dreams are crazy, if they laugh at what you think you can do, good. Stay that way. Because what non-believers fail to understand is that calling a dream crazy is not an insult.
Sorry, it's a bit long. I'm watching my time. But the whole point is that Nike has consistently remained authentic in everything that they do. And he actually says, it doesn't matter if people don't like your advertising, as long as you know what you're doing. People are bending Nikes. This guy closed his shop. He stopped stocking Nikes. His shop has now closed down because he thought he was cleverer than anybody else. We talk about being hungry and curious. I saw this piece of advertising when I went to Kenya a couple of weeks ago, which I thought was great.
Lights, camera, action. Hivyo ndo race ya kuachieve inaanza. Hii path si friendly. Frustrations zikinock at your door like an unwanted guest. Jifanye hauko nyumbani. Keep going. Dream yako ndio race. So keep running. Ukianguka kama race, so kick out. Usingoje 3 count. Get up, press on, keep sweating. Ikika ngumu tumia jasho ka fabric softener. Do the heavy lifting. Jua kuna kitu like. So shine kama light. Shine kwa skill yako. Keep moving. Juku give up si option. Your bidii ndio inakudefine as the champion, the conqueror, the hero. Ndio maana blaze inakupatia the tools to push on, the fuel to keep fighting, the skills to keep grinding. Na access key tu ni simu yako. So twende works, give your all because greatness requires internal toughness.
Nothing about bundles, WhatsApp for free, nothing. Everything is about emotive. Then another piece for an award-winning piece here from South Africa.
As long as I'm alive, I'ma live illegal.
So this is all about making ballet relevant. The last one is about locating your brand in youth culture. Very important in that your brand cannot be speaking to young people. You have to be with young people.
We're for the real you, not the fake you. We're for that one mistake that taught you the most. We're for the grind that finally paid off. We're for the long journey home and how you laughed all the way. We're for the real friends, the ones who have always got your back. We're for those delicious imperfections that actually make you perfect. We're for never apologizing for who you are. At KFC, we keeping it 100. We make real food for real people because we believe that each and every one of you is making a real difference. KFC, keeping it real.
So even the Colonel is very modern. You know, they worked on him. Now, you're probably sitting there thinking, yeah, have you used this before? When I joined HDI in 2017, I was like fired up. I would go see clients. They're like, oh, you guys are the kids' business. Like, no, we're a youth agency. Oh, man, you're the kids' business. So I went on a journey the last 18 months of repositioning HDI from a kids' business to a youth consultancy. And this is what we did.
At HDI, we don't see the youth as merely a collection of young individuals, or as just an age group defined by certain behavior. For us, the youth is a glimpse of things to come. They are a rising generation with the power to shape tomorrow. That is why we see minds ready to leave their mark. We see visionaries that will spark new trends. We see the voices that will empower future leaders. And we know that to create meaning tomorrow, we must understand our youth today. We recognize that in a changing world, to create relevance doesn't only mean looking at what's next, but more importantly, who is next? We are for the next to rise with new ideas and inventions, the next to forever change how we see the world, the next disruptors to challenge convention. At HDI, we are for the future, we are for the next.
So, the punchline, the bottom line is to future-proof your business, your brand needs to have purpose. I'm not saying do everything. Maybe pick one or two in case you create a salad, 7 colors sort of vibes. So have a greater purpose, understand route and channel to market, be consistent and authentic, be hungry and curious, locate your brand in youth culture. Thank you.